So tell us your story from being a waitress to getting into real estate to getting on Shark Tank and then becoming just a global brand.
I'll give you the very short version of it. I was a waitress in New Jersey at the Fort Lee Diner and met a man that came in and bought a cup of tea from me. And he became my boyfriend. I was 23. One look at him, I knew I was going to lose my virginity. And I did within
Usually how
a
it happens.
well, within a year, he suggested I start a real estate business. He said, I have a great personality. You do well in sales. Why don't you start a real estate business? And he loaned me $1,000. That was the magic ticket that got me out of the Fort Lee Diner. Figured I had nothing to lose. I had already had 22 jobs, working my way up the ranks. Figured the worst that happens, I go back to the Fort Lee Diner. That wasn't so bad. I enjoyed the job. And I took that $1,000 and started a business just by myself at first. And then I built it into a huge business over the years. He left me after 7 years and married my secretary. That was a little break. But that was great too, because I ended that business and started the Corcoran Group on my own. And I grew that into a multi-million-dollar business, of course, and sold it probably 20 years to the day for $66 million. And I haven't spent most of that money, by the way.
66. That is your number. I'll come back to that number a little later.
That's my lucky number.
Well, I know. That's why I said we got to come back to it, because there's a great story around the number 66. But taking that leap of faith with that $1,000 to create your own business in real estate, how much knowledge base did you have around it? Where did you get the knowledge? Did you have mentors as you were creating the business?
Well, I had my boyfriend who was a mentor. He was 10 years older than me, and he was a businessman. So
Okay.
he had a good sense of business. But no, I had no knowledge. You know what the real estate game really is like if you're in sales? It's getting along with people, reading people, and being accurate. Reading between the lines and hustling away into as many doors as you could. Eventually, somebody's going to bite at something and somebody's going to give you a commission check. And that's pretty much the way it was. It was the easiest job I ever had after the 21 jobs leading up to it. I enjoyed it the most. I felt like I was a Pollyanna running around the city, opening doors for people. It didn't even seem like a job. I just talked, much like I did as a waitress. And people kept coming back, and I built a tremendous trade. It was so much fun. In the heydays of New York, when it wasn't worth anything and values was smashing up through the ceiling, and my commissions were smashing up along with it. So it was very, very exciting.
So you build a successful business and you sell your business. This is something that a lot of entrepreneurs don't fully understand as far as the value of selling a business, starting a new business. Walk us through your mind frame when you were actually selling the business, and did you have any, hesitation about letting go of something that you built up?
No, it was pretty directed. I think if I had thought a little bit more on it, I would have slowed down a bit. But I remember being in the office one night with my 10% partner doing our usual charts we did every month, because there was no, you know what an MLS is, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was no MLS, so you had no way of knowing your market share. So I used to carefully put every listing of every competitor on a chart. And then one day, after doing that for about 12 years, I looked at my partner. I said, am I reading this right? Are we number one across the board? More market penetration than anyone else, more sales? And she said, yeah, that's what it is. We're number one. And I said, okay, let's sell the business.
Perfect.
I should have really given that some thought, but that's as quick as it happened. I had it sold within a month. We closed, I signed the contract the Friday night before 9/11, another stroke of luck.
Wow.
And we closed the week of 9/11. I mean, there's nobody closing businesses, but my deal was done. I got it done. Yeah.
One of the things you said when you close a deal is that you haven't spent most of that money yet. So that speaks to financial discipline. Is that something that you had from the 22 jobs leading up to it? Is that something that as you're building the business, all right, I have to figure this out? Or what? Or maybe you didn't have financial discipline?
I never had financial discipline. If there was a buck coming in 6 months out, I had it spent before it even hit my door. I always spent in advance of my budget. I just wanted to see how far I could go. But when I sold my business and got the 66 million, I was scared. I figured I didn't have my golden goose laying any eggs anymore. All my staff was gone. I had no way to produce money. And I thought to myself, heck, I better hold on to this money. So I kept it in my checking account without interest
Wow.
for probably 4 years, which is probably irresponsible if you think about it, before I invested, because what I knew how to do was make money. I knew how to make a business. I knew how to get market share. I knew how to get marketing done, get the limelight all the time. But the last thing I knew about was how to make money with money. So the fear alone kept it in my checking account.
So you kept 66 million in checking account for 4 years. What?
Don't suggest that's a good thing.
No,
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 for
we're
sure.
not. We're not.
When you-
Maybe I could use your advice, although it'll be late right now.
when you started to deploy the capital, what's the first investments that you made?
I bought myself a beach house. I bought myself a Porsche. I did all the kind of crazy things that people did who'd never had a pot to pee in. So I just, was able to like be fancy for a minute.
Mhm.
I bought my 3 or 4 siblings, because we had 10 in our family who didn't own homes. I bought all them homes. I was like a football star, almost like whoa, Barbara struck it rich. Everybody had a $10,000 problem. I got that, of course.
You get a car. You get a car. You
Yeah.
get, like,
No,
Oprah.
I didn't buy any cars. I bought houses for
Okay,
everybody to shore
okay.
everybody up. And that's kind of what I did. I kind of made everybody happy with the money. And I still had tons of money left over. It was great.
Look at that.
So, when you sold your business, was there already a plan in place for the second part of your life, or did you just want to sell a business and then just figure it out after it was already done?
I had a great plan. I always wanted to be a great Italian cook. So I took Italian cooking lessons. And the second lesson on a Thursday night, I thought, this isn't going to work. And so then I sat down and I made a list, which I would suggest to a lot of people when you don't know what you want to be when you grow up, so to speak, even though I was already grown up. I made a list of what I did well and what I didn't do well. And the list of what I didn't do well was a lot longer. But on my miniature list of what I did well, I was good at generating publicity. I was good at hiring people. And I was good at creating hoopla, making things look big.
Yeah.
And I loved an audience. So I went into the TV business. What other business would there be?
No
I
business
couldn't
like
think
show
of any
business.
other. Yeah.
So, I mean, that speaks to a lot because you said there's no MLS. You love creating hoopla, right? You love having an audience. So, in this time, this is before social media. Like,
Yes.
the internet
I wish we had social media.
Well, I forget about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be out of here. I mean, you're out of here now, but this is before social media. This is like right in the era of the internet. So, like, how are you creating the buzz to become the #1 in the region? Like, what was the steps? Like, was there a 10 list thing that we had to do to
There
make
were
sure?
no steps, honestly. It was hustle more than anything else. I had a great imagination. I would come up with ridiculous gimmicks, like teaching dogs how to shake hands in Central Parks because the boards of the city said they wanted to interview dogs. Whether they did or not, I don't know. Pretending that in the Guggenheim Mansion there was a locked safe that nobody ever seen in before. I had seen it before. There's nothing in there, but creating it for the Today Show to come and open it up in front of the cameras, okay? I just did ridiculous things, put cows on the roof of a building so the press would write about it. Anything I could think of, I thought, it's going to get attention. And you know what's funny about real estate? If you can get attention, you can sell. If you get attention, you get overpaid. If you get attention, you get the attention. It got to a point after a while that if any of my competitors, which are much larger than me for many years, if they had a sale to someone with notoriety and the whole press was circling around and wanted to know about the deal, they refused to talk to the press because they had signed a non-disclosure. The press always called me. I said, I'll tell you about it. Everybody thought I sold everything. But it was just creating press. And also you had billboards in the city. I bought billboards on a fraction of a dollar for every billboard, leftover billboards. I said, let me just use it for 2 months till you find somebody real. And then they wouldn't find anybody for 2 years and my face would be on the billboard. I created the internet. I was the first company on the internet in the United States because it was a haphazard accident that I happened to stumble into it.
You were the first company on the internet?
Yes, I was, because my husband was a Navy captain and was playing war games in South Korea. And he came home and he said, the government's got this new thing called the internet. And I had a failed project that I hadn't succeeded, videos, apartments of videos. I threw it on the internet and it exploded. I mean, we were on the internet almost 3 years before my competitors were. And I registered all my competitors' URLs, which you were allowed to do then. So they had to call and ask me for them. I love that part the best, No, you always have a means of making yourself look bigger and better than you are. If you have the courage to not mind sticking yourself out there and maybe getting caught, But people love a story. If you give people a story, they like to repeat it, and repeated stories gets you a lot of business.